Awesome. Before I pass over to Farzeen, who many of you know as our head of marketing, I just wanted to say thank you to you all for coming here today. I know many of you have come from far, some of you have come from interstate, so we're super grateful for the support you show ASUS, not just today, but throughout the whole year. We're very excited to showcase ASUS's latest range of its lifestyle laptops, which includes its incredible ASUS Lumina OLED technology. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Farzeen for a brand overview.
Thank you, Yvette, and good morning everyone. Thank you for coming. It is a bit cold in the morning, but thank you for making the efforts to come. We appreciate that. Before I start, I just wanted to acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognize the continuing connections to lands, water and communities. We pay our respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders cultures and to elders past and present. So just as Yvette introduced, obviously I've met a lot of you in our past events in the past. So I head the marketing team for both consumer and commercial within ASUS ANZ. And with me today I've got Brad. Again, most of you know majority of the team. So Brad is head of consumer business for us, looks after all things lifestyle and gaming products. We've got Samantha, who is our B2C marketing manager looking after lifestyle product range. We've got Charu, you all know Charu, she's our PR and communication manager. And we've got Serena and Henry from the lifestyle team as well. And we've got Jazza. So Jazza is, I'm sure some of you may know, he's an YouTuber and content creator, and you will hear from him a lot once you go in. Okay, so I guess just to get started, first of all, the event format is a bit different to what we've done in the past. So it is more of a walkthrough through different parts of our product section. So hopefully you enjoy that. At the end of that, there will be a Q&A section. So if there is any questions, please feel free to ask then. And you will also get some hands-on experience with the products as well at the end. So please do enjoy that. So briefly to touch on about ASUS as a brand, some of you may know our brand tagline is in search of incredible. So as a brand, we do continuously push ourselves to push the boundaries and do better and break previous records, bring the lightest and the longest battery life laptops and the likes. But one thing that stays quite close to us and consistent is the customer centricity, right? So we always try to bring in products and features, but we always make sure that it is adding the benefits and the values to the customer, and then they enhance their experience. So yes, I guess as a global brand, because of our product look and feel and the features we bring in and the innovations, we have won a lot of awards and recognitions throughout. Some of the recent ones has been the Red Dot Product Awards. ASUS actually broke records by winning 42 awards because of the looks and innovations that we brought in, and that's across our multiple product lines, laptops, phones, motherboards, and so on. We've also been world's most admired companies for 8th year in a row. And also ASUS is recognized in 2022 as the #1 OLED brand, with our global market share being 64%, and within the APAC region our market share being 49%. So locally, from an ASUS branding perspective, obviously growing our brand presence is part of key of what we do in marketing, and that's something we are continuously expanding and putting a lot of efforts into, and we do appreciate all of your support in that. So from a product perspective, I'll just touch on different product lines we have. Of course, this is a lifestyle event and you'll learn a lot more as you go inside. But from a different product segments, ROG, which a lot of you are familiar with, Republic of Gamers, it is the #1 laptop brand globally, and locally also the brand has a quite strong presence within the gamers community. So we have launched obviously our new 2023 lineup just a couple of months back, and some of you did come to that ROG pop-up event we did at Pitt Street, where we launched our entire new gaming lineup with Intel 13th gen core processors and the new RTX 40 series laptops. And of course, very recently, just a week ago, we've also announced our ROG Ally, which is the portable gaming device. It's a very exciting, new product and a whole new product segment for us. And week one, first week post-launch has been amazing. We've got fantastic responses from it so far, and I would like to thank all of you for your support on that as well. And in the commercial segment, some of you are familiar with that. We've officially launched our commercial part of the business about 3 years ago in 2019, so it is still at an early stage of the business. We are heavily focusing on the SMB and the education segments, and that's an area with our partners. We see a lot of opportunities to keep continuing the growth in that as well. And last but not least, obviously the lifestyle category, and again in previous events when you heard from us, content creator is a key segment for us that we focus on. It's constantly evolving, and we, from ASUS perspective, we do bring in a number of products to meet different creator needs. Of course, OLED within our lifestyle lineup is a key part of the product mix. OLED is a premium technology and an expensive technology, but we, from ASUS, we firmly believe that we can make it accessible at different products at different price point to make it more accessible and affordable for all our customers. So with all that, you will obviously learn and hear a lot more about that as you go in, but I'll pass on to Charu to take you through our corporate marketing side of things.
Just very quickly on the sustainability part here, thank you for coming again, so thanks a lot for that. Sustainability, I think just in terms of sustainability and what we're doing in terms of CSR as a company, the core is of course about sustainability here, and we're making a lot of initiatives through climate change, the circular economy, and especially the responsible manufacturing. And through this initiative, we've been able to get a lot of new products in the last 1 year. Especially one of them is the ExpertBook B9 from a commercial category, which has been winning a lot of awards for sustainability, and it's a very eco-friendly product as well. And the other one is the Zenbook S13 OLED, which is the world's slimmest ultra-portable OLED laptop, which we will see today as well. That has also been designed keeping in mind the eco-friendly recyclable material, and it's made out of ocean material, some parts of it. So I think we're doing a lot in terms of sustainability and making sure we're giving back to the community and getting good products. While sustainability is more at a global level, locally we are working with an organization called Beyond Blue, well known for doing a lot of work for mental health and just giving back to the community. And I think internally everyone here really believes in that initiative, and we wanted to be part of this community and just serve in the best way possible. So we're working with them and just giving it back to the society in whatever small way we can. So just a little update there on what we're doing on CSR globally and locally as well, and pass it on to Brad and Sam here now.
Hey guys, thank you all for coming again today. It's really nice to have everybody here. So yeah, we're going to take you guys through the lineup today, but before we do that, we kind of just wanted to reintroduce the category itself. So you guys are obviously all very familiar with the lifestyle category, where we have 3 core ranges. That we have our Vivobook, our Studiobook, and also our Zenbook category, all that represent a completely different suite of products, completely different consumer and functionality across the board. So we will go through the core lineup today, but as you guys all know, one of the key things that we really wanted to explore with you guys today was really around our OLED journey, and that continues to be a really massive commitment for us as an organization. If we think back to when we first launched OLED back in 2021, we had 3 models in the lineup, but today in 2023 we've actually got 24 models accessible throughout our entire range. So that just for us continues to sort of prove our commitment to delivering such premium technology, but for all Australians, because we really do believe that everybody deserves the best technology, and whatever they're into, they're essentially having the best display in conjunction with the best performance and features that ASUS then tops up with all of that. The other thing that we wanted to sort of mention as well today is that we're excited to continue as part of our 2023 lineup is our partnerships that we have. So obviously we're very proud of our products, but we're also very proud of the really strong partnerships that we've established over the last few years, and that will be as part of our 2023 lineup. So we're continuing to work with the likes of Pantone, Dolby, of course Nvidia, Adobe, and then of course, you know, our Intels and Microsofts and Google partners as well. So those partnerships continue to be a really, really strong alignment with what we're trying to do as a brand to sort of enhance consumers' experiences and whatever, you know, sort of consumers are doing, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But that continues to be a really important factor for us to integrate into our lineup. But again, the special thing that we're going to be talking about today really is around our OLED journey and how we believe OLED should be for everyone. Because we truly do believe that, and I think having the lineup going from 3 to 24 sort of alludes to that, and also that cements our sort of number one positioning globally, being the number one laptop brand. You know, we've seen OLED be part of all of our lives over the last sort of decade or so. You know, we've seen it in the more small screens, kind of dominated our small screens and enhancing our day-to-day multitasking with the various things that we're trying to do on our phones, and we've also seen it support our content consumption on the big screens. So we kind of have seen this really nice opportunity in the middle for the mid-sized screens, which is where we think we fit in and where we think we can support Australians with their content creation. So, you know, that's whether people are, you know, professional top-tier content creators like architects or, you know, filmmakers, or even, you know, the likes of yourselves that are needing really top-tier performance in your laptops. But also we see every Australian as essentially being a content creator to some degree. So, you know, we want to support those younger generation, whether they're kids or university students battling long hours of study throughout the night, right through to people starting their own businesses who might be building their own websites or creating their own social content. So essentially anyone that sits in front of the screen is some sort of a creator to some degree, and that's ultimately why we believe, because of that, OLED should be integrated at every sort of touch point within our category. So the other thing kind of that's an important thing for us that we've been thinking about as well is, okay, everybody is a creator in their own right, whether it's a professional creator or the everyday creator, but regardless of what people are doing, and everybody's spending such a unique, diverse sort of experience with their own laptops. But regardless of all of that, what everybody has in common really, and what we all do have in common, is that we are spending endless amounts of hours in front of our screens. So which means if we are going to be spending so much time in front of our screens, the technology and the performance, you know, does need to kind of match up together, and that's what we feel quite strongly about in today's lineup. Obviously, we don't need to explain to you guys specifically what OLED technology is. You know, you all understand that. We understand it provides amazing color accuracy with over 1 billion colors. It's true blacks thanks to the self-lit pixels, ultra fast response time, and contrast ratios. But one of the things and one of the features that's super important for us that we feel is most relevant in our space, in the PC space, is really around that eye care feature. So with people spending so long, and we all spend so many hours on our screens, OLED obviously, you know, it does improve eye care feature from a 70% reduction blue light. We've got our partnerships with TUV Rhineland certified. So that is, for us, in addition to all of the amazing features that OLED delivers and does enhance the day-to-day from a precision and control perspective, the eye care feature is something that we feel quite strongly about, which is why everyone should have OLED in their laptops. So I think we're gonna move on into the room over there. We're gonna kick off our walkthrough, and we'll just go through the door through you if you wanna follow us. Yeah. Yeah, help yourself to some food, guys, if you want to grab anything before we kick off. Yeah, please feel free to grab some food if anybody wants, but we're going to start off in this zone, which is our Vivobook zone. So as we kind of alluded to before, so our 3 core categories, which we will go through today, we're going to be starting off with the Vivobook zone. So the Vivobook zone, as you guys are all quite familiar with this lineup, is very much our entry-level category, but still maintaining performance and the ASUS innovation features that we want to continue to maintain throughout the entire range. So we feel this category does sort of provide a number of choices, and you know, we will go through sort of the product details, but the point that we're trying to make in each category that will be consistent is that there are a number of choices at every sort of consumer's touch point, whether they are that younger demographic, which is more suited to the Vivobook category. This is much more suited to your university students or those BYOD devices for school students potentially as well. This could even potentially play a role as a secondary device in the home. That's more of like a communal sharing device. But despite having a number of choices, we also still believe there are those entry-level creators that we want to continue to support that might not necessarily be ready for a top-tier machine, but are very much in their early stages of their content creation journey. So it's also important for us to be able to provide that as a solution for them, and this is pretty much where our OLED journey kicks off. Which I'll then hand over to Brad.
Yeah, so look, obviously the ASUS laptop used to be the brand in this sort of space. Vivobook was something that really didn't exist in terms of how we went to market to sort of build a family around our products. We always had ASUS laptop and really just Zenbook, and over the years Vivobooks evolved into what you see now, only 3 models here of what is a very extensive range. But within Vivobook, you have that, you have that basic, more mainstream entry-level type of user device, which will be maybe not a device with an OLED, although very soon we will have that in that entry part of the market as well. But moving up from Vivobook Go, you move into your Vivobook Pro or X range. So adding additional features and benefits. Obviously OLED is one of the key differentiators that we have, and we do have the ability now that we have scale in the OLED business. As Sam mentioned, we've gone from 3 units a few years ago to 24. The amount of panels we're buying now in that OLED space has given us the ability to bring the price down. It's obviously a scalability situation we're in, and we're now at a point where a $13.99 device actually can have an OLED in it pretty comfortably, and we're hoping by the end of the year we'll have something even more cost effective for that than that, especially around sort of your seasonal time. So really bringing an OLED to every type of consumer is our goal, and what you see here today is pretty much everything has an OLED except for one device behind us and one over there, but it's for display reasons, so we can show you a clear differentiator as well. But going through the range, you really do have that ability to, depending on what type of creator you are, if you are after an OLED device, you don't necessarily need dedicated graphics if you're more of a TikTok type of content creator. So something that we have across the board in that Vivobook range. Obviously the screen is still the key in that space, and making sure that when people are creating that content, the clarity of that device is key. And one of the great things that I feel we have in the range is a size difference as well. So it's not just a one size fits all. Not everybody wants a 15-inch notebook. Not everyone wants a 14-inch. So we do have a 15, a 14.5, and a 16-inch device in the space. And we're really looking at the 16 is more that more premium. It is Vivobook Pro, so it's at the top end of the scale, but it also is coming with up to 4070 graphics built into the device as well. So no, still a very, very serious device in terms of performance. And obviously depending on the preference of CPU, we have the options of Intel or AMD across that range as well, and in fact across the board in all of these designs. But then in the middle, as an example, the 14.5 inch is a new screen size for us. So traditionally you would have a 16:9 aspect ratio. A lot of these new devices we have are actually 16:10 aspect ratio. So obviously the physical height in terms of its the screen size height is a little bit larger, so you're fitting more on the display. But we're finding that people are enjoying something a little bit different from your typical 14 or 15-inch screen. So us bringing in 14.5 and 16-inch has been a great move for us. You'll also see in the family of product, and we will have a bit more time to sort of have a bit more hands-on, but in that Vivobook range, we've tried to do something a little bit different. So you see on a couple of the machines some different colour keys, and it's just a bit of a way of us differentiating our brand across a fleet of notebooks on a shelf, where you go into a store and you see an enormous amount of black and silver and grey sort of devices. All of a sudden ASUS pops a little bit more. You do have the slightly different key colours, but you also have some patterns across the machine. But visually OLED is so obviously different. So if these devices are on the shelf in any store, in any situation, you will very, very quickly be able to tell what an OLED screen is versus others. And that's where, as Sam mentioned, it's something that we're continuing to drive. It's something that's a big part of our business, not just locally but globally, and moving it through all different types of customers in terms of, we want to make sure there is an OLED available for everyone. Not everybody has the ability to purchase a $2,000+ machine, which is where they kind of started initially all those years ago, but down now at our $1,399 sort of starting price point, and hoping to bring that down even more. We're giving people the ability to get the best technology in these devices as we can at an affordable price, regardless of the type of user you are. So that's kind of just the Vivobook range in a nutshell. We'll sort of move across to the Zenbook zone. For those that have been familiar with ASUS as a brand for a number of years, we've been promoting Zenbook since anyone that's been around for a while, since they were called Ultrabooks. So that's a fair time ago now. But we were fortunate enough over 10 years ago to launch these products into the Australian market in the Zenbook family. It was really the start of something for us in that more premium side of the business. So it was always a case of making sure we had a device for a customer that still had a need for performance, but also was interested in the aesthetics and the look and the feel of the machine. And you can tell, as you sort of move from Vivobook into Zenbook, there's a premium in terms of the price, but the physical look and feel of the machine is significantly different. The materials used are significantly different as well. And one of our goals this year was to really bring our Zenbook family back to life within the Australian New Zealand market, and something that we're really proud of is we now have these models on shelf across a lot more stores than we've had in the previous few years, and even previous to the challenges we've experienced in the past couple of years. We kind of let this part of our business sort of go off to the side a little bit too much, I felt, and we've really focused hard on bringing it back. And it was bringing it back because we had the right product to do so again. So again, obviously the theme being OLED, you can very clearly see how beautiful the screens are on these devices, but what we're also trying to do is give customers value when they're actually purchasing these devices. So on top of the fact that it is OLED or OLED touchscreen panels, we're also increasing the minimum spec of these devices. People that are paying $2,000 plus for a machine like this are expecting the best of the best. And so what we're trying to do is actually add more value through RAM and hard drive capacity as well, especially in that creator space, because creators are obviously creating some significant size files when they're doing what they're doing. I'm sure you guys will do the same thing. So a 1 terabyte hard drive that used to be almost not spoken of back in a few years ago is now becoming quite common in some of our devices, especially in something like the Zenbook Duo. So again, a device that we launched about 3 years ago in its first iteration, or maybe 4 years ago now actually, and it was something that I think people expected us just to do as a bit of a one-hit wonder. It was just something to bring out because we could, in terms of innovation. And what we've now got is a very different device to the first variation. It's been significantly improved over the years through innovation, and even just the screen used to be a flat screen. It wasn't touch, it wasn't an OLED, but now it's all of those things. It actually has a pivot based on the perfect viewing angle for using the device. And look, it's not necessarily the device for everybody because it's a very different footprint in terms of the way you use the device. But we know many people that have used the machine previously and really enjoyed the experience because it is very functional, and having that second display is something that when you don't have it, you kind of miss. And obviously we've all gotten used to using external screens and things very much so over the past few years. But now that everyone's going mobile again, we're actually seeing this device do exceptionally well since we launched it again this year, early in the year. Again, we'll be able to sort of have a bit more of a look and feel as we go through. So in terms of Zenbook, we've got the variation of range in terms of our UM3402, so this is our AMD entry offer to the market. Again, still OLED display and touchscreen variations. Some of the other little things that we do build into our machines just to differentiate from everybody else is that touchpad facility to have the number pad in it. So a very simple keystroke brings the number pad up in the device. So again, when you're looking down a line of all these notebooks in a store, you see these little things that ASUS does that are a little bit different to make sure that our machines do stand out. Moving down the range, so this is into our flip variation. So it's effectively the same machine in terms of its look and feel, in terms of design, but you move from a clamshell device to a 2-in-1. Obviously 2-in-1 is a big part of the market, but we're actually seeing quite a resurgence in this clamshell touchscreen space as well. So we're very fortunate that we could actually tick both the boxes and bring something to the market that covers off any type of user. And then one of the main products, which has been a recent global launch and a very, very beautiful, very nice machine, is the Zenbook S. So this is basically our new hero product in the space. Very, very thin, lightweight device, 1 centimetre thick or thin, and less than a kilo in weight. And you'll get to see this a little bit later as well. Again, obviously OLED display, closed flat screen, but just a beautiful, beautiful new device that we brought into the market. It actually reminds me of one of our first Zenbooks that we brought out. Anyone that's followed ASUS for a few years, the UX31, it was over 10 years ago we launched it. But in terms of the design, it's actually very similar. And I still feel we could put that device on the shelf all these years later and still sell it. So obviously there is some really cool technologies we've put into the device to make it as thin as we can. But we've also used the, as mentioned earlier, we've thought about sustainability. So it's actually got recycled products on the top lid, and it's actually an interesting feel. It's something that's a very different finish, and you guys can have a look at it and see towards the end of the sort of discussion. But it's a really beautiful machine that we expect to do very, very well in the market, and obviously again sort of pushing that OLED theme and making sure that we have those premium devices that people are after with the latest technology built in. So we'll just move a little bit further around to Studiobook. We won't do too much of a deep dive into Studiobook, but Jazza will share some experiences as well in this space. But what's really exciting today is some of you may be familiar and aware that we launched a glasses-free 3D solution at CES this year, and we're very lucky to have one of the devices here with us today. It took some getting, to be honest, because there's not many in the world at the moment, but it's something that you guys can experience towards the end of the presentation. But obviously Studiobook is our top of the range. It is our models in this space in terms of content creation, workstation style devices that really ticks all the boxes for that type of consumer. And we've really built the machines with that type of user in mind. So a lot of people will use external devices and dials and things in this type of user scenario, and we've actually built it into the device itself. So it's not it's actually a physical dial that you can experience after this. But that type of thing is where we're just making sure that we're trying to make sure we bring this solution to the consumer when they're on the road or when they're on the go. So having that built into the device is something that's quite different as well. Obviously Studiobook is very much at the premium end of town, and you can get quattro graphics up into these machines as well. So they do become quite expensive solutions, but ultimately it's a fit for purpose solution that people are after. And in that when you have that need, people are happy to sort of invest in the right device. So Studiobook, obviously again, that OLED theme, it's everything about OLED, and the greatest thing is we now have 3D OLED without the need to wear glasses. So I'll pass to Jazza just to sort of share his experience of ASUS products as well.
Sounds good. Hi everyone, I'm Jazza. I am a content creator. I've been working with ASUS for 4 years now, but I've been a content creator since before it was cool. I was 11 when I started making content for online, and that's evolved from making Microsoft PowerPoint animations through to Flash games and animations through to YouTube, which I've been doing for 10 years now. So as part of what I do professionally, I've developed a pretty keen sense of the tools that allow me to be creative in a really free-flowing way, from the really practical stuff in terms of what I do artistically, paints and pencils and cameras, through to post-production and administration, and the technology that ASUS has created and that I've had the pleasure of working with has just been a massive factor in upscaling my ability to be productive, to be creative, and frankly to enjoy how I can work. So all the way from the Pro Duo, which is my daily driver, actually, I struggle to work without two screens, so you was exactly talking about me. That is a device that as soon as I saw it, I knew like, okay, that's my laptop, because I know my workflow, and it really filled a need that for me is very specific in the kind of things that I produce and the pickiness I tend to have. That is provided for in ASUS's lineup. Likewise with the Pro Art Studiobook and that dial, when you work day to day in Photoshop, in DaVinci Resolve, in Premiere, and any of these programs where shortcuts and keyboard shortcuts are a huge part of it, but then that tactile ability to interact with a device that allows you to change brush sizes, to alter your color grade, without going into a clunky interface or something that feels less natural than interfacing with it as a physical object. So all of those elements has always felt really empowering. But OLED and this drive to provide OLED to everyone, I can really get behind. And I know the first time I saw OLED was in Harvey Norman, like 6-7 years ago. And it was one of those instant moments. It's like when you first saw a flat screen TV when CRTs were the thing. It's like, it's an instant aha moment. And that was one for me. It was actually one of my first luxury purchases when I became a professional YouTuber, was an OLED TV. And I think that really speaks to like when people can get immersed in the content that they're enjoying as well as the content that they're creating. The ability to know that the colors that you're working with and producing are going to be vibrant but also realistic, not oversaturated, not blown out and disproportionate to, I guess, fake an impactful user experience. It's an accurate, interactive, vivid color and contrast experience. And one that, as a picky creator and producer of things, I have always really appreciated and loved that range has expanded from the prosumer all the way to the entry-level consumer and content creator range. And content creation, as has been highlighted, is a wide net now, where it used to be much more of a niche and narrow thing. To a degree, as has been mentioned, everyone is a content creator in one way or another, and for that experience to be so thoroughly facilitated is something I'm pretty impressed with how ASUS has pulled that off. So that's my experience. So if anyone had any questions or wanted to chat later, I'm open to that as well. But thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for coming. And look, what we wanted to do as well is give a few actual demos, especially of the blue colour differences between an OLED and an LCD panel. So we actually have at the back of the room just a bit of a setup, but I'd sort of invite you guys, if you want to grab some food, float around, have a bit of a look. We'll all be here. There's a fair few of us that can sort of take any questions, or if you wanted to do individual interviews or anything, we're happy to do that as well. But if you haven't actually experienced the difference between an OLED and an LCD in this sort of setup, it's a pretty basic one, but it actually is very obvious how much of a difference it makes. We will do a bit of have a go on the 3D OLED as well, in terms of the glasses free. So anyone that wants to have a bit of a sit down and have a look at this. So obviously this is your standard panel. Who's going to jump in? Come on, somebody jump in. Steve, jump in. Have a sit down.
You've got to assemble a laptop.
No.
With a blindfold.
Nothing too serious.
What do you want me to do?
So all we're doing.
Oh, okay. We're looking at a picture.
So can you see? You see how this is obviously not a non.
So I'm supposed to look through here?
Yeah. So you look through there. You can see the blueness
my
on the screen.
reflection is I can see it.
Can you
Oh,
see
there we
it?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lighting probably isn't helping you here,
Yeah.
but the blueness is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Now move it to the OLED.
Oh, it's gone.
There's nothing at all.
Yeah, well. Wow, you can really see the blue.
Yeah. So obviously that's one of the huge benefits of OLED, and especially when we've all been staring at too many screens over the past few years. You can really tell from I've got kids, so they stare at screens way too much. So an OLED device in this regard, especially when they're using it for study or whatever it may be, is a great benefit to them in terms of that eye care feature. And this is just a very simple demo of it, and I appreciate you demoing it for us. But very, very cool. So, yeah, no worries. But if anyone wants to have a bit of a look, it is pretty obvious about how it does change things. But like I said, we're here to sort of just walk around the room. If you wanted to have a look at any of the product, obviously pick up and get a more hands-on feel for the devices. We do have our 17-inch fold that some of you may be aware of. We launched early in the year, and again, a massive innovation in terms of a statement around innovation, but it's something that for many users, it is something that can be used in many different environments. They're quite a cool device, and ultimately us just sort of showing and I guess flexing a little bit of the things that we can produce when we want to as a brand. So like I said, if you want coffee or food, please grab something and float around, and we're sort of here to answer any of your questions that you may have. So again, thanks so much for attending, and yeah, please enjoy some of the product.